careless as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock podcast. Proceed at your own risk and mark well me words, ladies. Dead men tell no tale.
Whether you're a lifelong Disney fan, theme park junkie, or someone who just loves great storytelling, you found your new favorite show. Welcome to Skull Rock Podcast. I'm Aljon Go, musician and longtime Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and pop culturist.
And I'm Dave Bossard, artist, filmmaker, author, traveling man, and welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast. Aljon, it has been a few weeks. We've had sort of a shortened show format for the last couple weeks as we finished out our Bill Plimpton interviews, which, by the way, I got a lot of feedback on.
Nice.
A lot of people enjoyed hearing Bill's story and his journey. But you've been traveling. You were on vacation. So I want to hear all of.
So yeah, the family had a great time there at the Walt Disney World Resort. We're hanging out there. It was just super hot. And I
mean, it's June in Florida, Aljon.
I know. I made a promise to my family because you know how hyperactive my kids are.
Yeah.
They're usually bouncing off the walls and so excited. I tell you, the kids were like, "Daddy, can we just go in the fall?" And I said, "Guys, we're going to go in the fall. We're going to go in the spring. We're never going to go back in the summer." So, but I tell you what was really nice, Dave. Of course, you know, America's 250th is happening.
Yeah.
And we did finally see Soaring Across America.
Wow. How did you like it?
It was really well done. I mean, I almost cried. It was so nice. It was so nice. I feel like the music is kind of a return to form. I mean, nothing against Michael Giacchino's like kind of scoring of what Soaring is today, but the 250th version is kind of more sweeping and a little bit more legato sounding. And Dave, you're a director yourself. You know, you've done these type of things. You know how important a soundtrack is, and it's so sweeping and dynamic and majestic. And as you do these really cool flyovers over every little piece of America and the big landmarks of America, whether it's Niagara Falls or you go over the Grand Canyon and the Lady Liberty, you go over there, you do all that really cool stuff. Those flybys are just so amazing and it's so well done. So I will give high marks for anyone to go see the America 250 version of Soaring Across America. And of course, they also have got I'm having a brain fart now.
Well, while you're thinking of that, let me
yes.
ask you this question.
Yes.
Did you feel when you were down at the parks that they were putting it all out for the 4th of July with flags and, you know, the celebration of the America's 250?
Not so much when I went,
Yeah.
you know, but I feel like they're going to gear up toward it because I think there's still time yet to do it. I know that they're planning.
I mean, next week is 4th of July.
Well, I guess so. I guess you're absolutely right.
You know, but it begs the observation from me that I just don't feel that the 250th anniversary of this country is being celebrated the way the bicentennial was celebrated in 1976.
Yeah, I mean, I get this. I mean, I understand that, you know, a lot of people may feel a little polarized one way or the other for whatever reason. They have their reasons. I get it. But I feel like everybody should be celebrating the fact that we live in America, you know?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it seems like everybody's, you know, with the World Cup happening, right? You see all the soccer games and stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to be celebrating of that. And I think it's awesome. I was in Orlando and, you know, the wife and kids were sitting there watching some soccer and everybody was just super crazy about it and having a blast. Everywhere you went around Epcot was just amazing. And I was going to say too, Patrick from Soaring, right? Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
They brought him back to do like a really quick entry
Yeah, yeah.
intro for it. And of course, he's a lot older now, and he's just the best. Isn't Patrick Warburton the best? Did you
I
ever
I
work with Patrick?
I never worked with him, but I just love him. He's just got such a distinctive voice, and there's just something calming about him, isn't there?
He's just the best. I mean, look at him here, Dave. He's wearing his old little, flight attendant outfit there. And
Yeah.
he's like, and I'm going to be talking to you about America and soaring across America. And I'm going to pass the torch over to this guy who looks a lot younger. And of course, it was his younger self, right? Doing the
That's
intro
great.
video, the intro video. But I tell you, it was great. Yeah, the other thing that was great was going throughout Epcot and seeing all the great merchandise, for America's 250th. And I really wanted to get this America jersey, this baseball jersey with Mickey and everybody on it. It was quite collectible. Um, but it was like a sweater. So you know how when you wear a baseball jersey, it's supposed to be kind of thin,
Yeah.
wicking material and stuff. This one was so freaking, it felt like a sweater, Dave. It was so
My
thick
gosh.
that I'm like, no, I'm not wearing this. You're supposed to wear this during the 4th of July and everything. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to wear it. But suffice it to say, we had a blast. Unfortunately, we didn't get to ride the new Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster
Oh.
because the kids are still a little bit too
Yeah,
short
yeah,
for it.
okay.
Um, but we did go over and we saw they had the Swedish Chef's food truck there and everything. Everybody was just really cool. And the parks were pretty packed. But luckily for us, we had lightning lane. So we were
Yeah,
able
no,
to
I was
take in
gonna
all that.
ask you if the parks were packed, and
Yeah, the parks. Yeah.
that's great to hear.
Yeah, the parks were busy, but once again, just because we had Lightning Lane, we were able to get in with the kids because the kids once again they're hyperactive, they're doing stuff, and we want to make sure that we have a pretty seamless trip. The other thing that we did, Dave, is because Kristen is a Disney agent, travel agent. We were able to go to the first time upstairs to Test Track's VIP area where all the GM executives hang out.
Oh, wow.
So we got invited to that, and there's some pictures I'll put on my social of us hanging out in the lounge and the view from the upper deck of Test Track looking over the rest of Epcot and Spaceship Earth is unbelievable.
Wow.
It is such a great view. You can see the monorail, you can see Spaceship Earth, and we got some pictures taken in the upper deck, and it was really nice.
Very
And I will
nice.
say that that was a really cool experience because no one ever gets to go up there.
Yeah. No, that's
And
awesome.
but yeah, they treated us well. They gave us Mickey bars, and the kids had a bunch of rain bar popcorn and a bunch of sugar, so they were bouncing off the walls that day. So it was good. But I would say that overall the place was great. Cast members, of course, did their you know their job. They were everybody was really great except for one. I will say when we went to the co-op to get these little vinyls for the kids,
Yeah.
this was the first time I ever, in my decades of going to the Disney parks, ever had a cast member so not interested in working.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, she's like, "Would you like a bag? There's a bag." Just pointed at the bag to have me bag my own stuff,
Wow.
and I was like, "Okay." It's like, "Oh,"
Wow. That's
and then
somebody
I
that is somebody who should not be, guest, facing.
Yeah, so there's a new place there that sells all the little Japanese blind boxes, and I said, "Hey, let's go take the kids. This is really cool." Because when I went to Japan, I bought a bunch of Disney stuff at the Pop Mart, and they're the blind boxes. You take them apart, and the kids put them together like in three-piece little vinyl models and stuff that they
Yeah.
play with. And so I was like, "Yeah, this is great." And so this place has got a lot of really cool little toys and things, little stuff you can put on your desk. And I went to check out. I was like, "Do you take a cast member or do you take a annual pass discount?" It's like, "No, no discounts." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then after she rang me up, she just pointed. It's like, "Would you like a bag? There's a bag." I'm like,
Wow. Wow.
"Whoa,
Yeah,
yeah."
that's absolutely reprehensible. I wish you had said something to somebody, you know?
I think my wife might say something. I
Yeah,
mean, I
but,
understand you might be having a bad day, but
yeah, but
like,
still, you know what? When you're paying that much money to go into those parks, you really want people to be cheery, you know?
yeah.
And that's part of the experience when you go to those parks. So,
100%.
That's sad. It's really sad to hear that. I can't ever recall having that kind of an experience at the Disney parks. I mean, everywhere I've gone at the Disney parks, everybody's been super nice.
Yeah, I mean, and everyone was.
Yeah,
All the cast members were super great except this one who
yeah,
was having a hard time, I guess. There was also another thing that happened, Dave, since we're having this discussion.
yeah,
We go into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, have a great time, by the way. We were able to check out the new stuff there for Mandalorian and Grogu, I guess,
yeah.
has taken over the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
Okay.
So we did that new adventure. Of course, the kids blew up the Millennium Falcon because they can't drive. But we're out there doing the cool stuff. And we went to Oga's Cantina, and you can see here. So Oga's Cantina is the family bar, for lack of a better term,
Uh-huh.
so DJ Rex up there spinning music, having fun. It's basically like the Trader Sam's of the galaxy, right? So there's little shows and stuff that go on. They have wonderful drinks that are all Star Wars themed. Everybody bellies up to the bar. Of course, since this is Disney, families are they can go. So we are seated there. This is not our first time. Every time we go to Walt Disney World, we make it a point to go to Galaxy's Edge and Oga's Cantina.
Yeah.
And you sit down with a bunch of different people at these type of
Yeah, I was gonna
establishments.
say it's sort of a large communal table, right?
It's a communal table. There's communal tables, and then you sit with other people. And this other family was sitting, having a great time. And it's like, hey, is this your first time here? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we've been here a while. And of course, our kids are behaved, sitting in the corner, and they're having their little Star Wars drinks, non alcoholic, of course. Right. And we're eating the charcuterie board. Everybody's having fun. This other couple is also sitting there, and we sit down, and the guy goes, I ordered before you sat down, I was going to order shots for everybody.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, well, that's fine. You can still order shots. I'll just take the ones for the kids. That's what I said.
Wow.
And I laughed. And then so he proceeds to pull out these Star Wars cards, like he's playing an adult Star Wars card game with his significant other. Okay. And so I'm sitting here, and he looks to the other people and go, well, I don't like to drink in front of my children. So they're off doing their own thing. And I look at him and I go, oh, good for you.
Wow.
I'm sitting here like, did you just, what? Like, what? You're sitting here judging me and my wife, you don't even know who I am.
It's almost like he set you up by offering you shots.
Well, he clearly didn't want to sit at a Star Wars themed bar at Walt Disney World
With your kids.
with our family and our kids. And my kids were not even, as rambunctious as my kids can get. When they were there, they were extremely behaved, Dave. They sat down and they had their little Star Wars drink and everything. And
they were having their restaurant behavior.
Yeah, they were having their restaurant behavior. They were eating, their meats and cheeses, and they love that charcuterie. And so they're playing, and as if divine intervention happened, my daughter reached across the table and accidentally knocked her drink and spilled her drink all over his cards.
Oh, awesome.
And I said, I am so extremely sorry. Can I get you another drink?
And
he didn't even acknowledge me.
But I have a thirst for knowledge.
Thank you, Siri. I appreciate that. But he didn't even acknowledge me. And my daughter was just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. And my wife was apologetic. Didn't even acknowledge me. Took his little, it got a couple cards wet. Wiped it off and put it back in his little plastic baggie in his backpack and just ignored us the rest of the time. I'm like, what a donut hole this guy.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
Something, listen, anybody who has kids will absolutely relate to your story because it's happened to all of us at one time or another.
Yes. Yes.
So you just move on.
Well, it just struck me as being so rude because you're at Disney. There are kids everywhere. You can't avoid it. These
Yeah.
places are made for families.
Yeah.
And for you to just literally from the jump insult me and my family the moment we sit down and then continue to do that, like, I mean, these kids, I mean, they're 5 and 6 years old. At least let me buy you another drink, but for heaven's sake, this guy. But anyway, other than that, Dave, I will say it was hot, but it was fun.
Yeah.
The kids had a great time, and we went shopping. Everybody got some good stuff from it. So
Well, I'm also glad to hear that the parks were crowded. That's good to hear, you know?
absolutely. Well, it's crowded. I feel like with all the changes post COVID that happened at the parks and the way they structured annual pass holders, I'm not a person that is one of those entitled people, but I do not like the fact that we're getting less and less value as the time goes on,
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
and I think that that's an issue. I think that, I've been hearing this from a lot of Disney fans, by the way. And I interact with a lot of folks, when I'm out and about, if I'm doing a signing or something like that. The real, hardcore Disney fans are starting to there's rumblings, there's complaints going on, and I hear it, and I really hope that the company starts to realize that they're starting to alienate their core people, you know?
Well, we love the product so much. We subscribe to Disney Plus.
Yeah,
We are annual pass holders. We go out of our way. We drive all the way to the resort. We stay at the resort. I mean, there's a bunch of things and we promote it. Of course, we promote it on this show.
of course we
And
do.
so, I mean, we love the brand. It's just, there was someone that did a video essay recently that I watch video essays all the time on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they were saying how the model was Disney treated annual pass holders like gold. And they added so much value early going. I would say from when they started the annual pass holder program, I would say in the early 90s, when Eisner took over. And then all of a sudden, for 20 years, it was just amazing. And then something happened. Something happened, I think, when Chapek took over. And then the pandemic happened. And then all of a sudden, there were some press releases or some interviews with Chapek where he actually talked about us being like a commodity.
Yeah,
And that's a feeling that I got,
yeah,
that's a feeling I got.
that's really, I think, very sad, because you treat your annual pass holders really well because they become ambassadors for you. You know?
100%.
And I feel like the company is slipping away a little bit from that. All you can do is talk about it, on shows like this and other podcasts that people are doing, and hope that, eventually the word gets back to people so that they can course correct a little bit.
Well,
That's my feeling about it because, you know, it the Disney difference, as Jay Rizzullo had coined it years and years ago, the
yes.
Disney difference was the fact that they treated the guests, as, guests, and you always had a great experience when you went to the park. But now I'm starting to hear rumblings from people that, people's using the term money grab, and
Yep.
it's just they're just charging too much for this or that, and they're just grabbing money where they can from people. And I think, when that starts to permeate, you're going to start to see, and I'm already seeing it, by the way, because people who would spend their annual vacation at Walt Disney World are now going to Universal.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and I sit there and go, Universal's giving Disney a run for its money, and somehow they're eroding that fan base a little bit, and that is not a good thing for a company like Disney. And maybe they don't care right now because they've got stuff flow, the revenue is flowing in, but at some point they're going to hit some sort of a um, inflection point where somebody's going to realize, like, hey, what's going on? Why are people not flocking to this or that? you know? But,
No
right
doubt.
now it doesn't make a difference because Toy Story 5 is a massive hit,
We're gonna
right?
get to that.
And we're gonna talk about that, you know?
Well, we're gonna do that, but let me just simply put a bow on it, Dave. Wonderful time. The cast members made a huge difference. I
Yes.
wanna give a shout out to the cast member there at Galaxy's Edge because he saw this all go down and offered us a new drink for her and made it all right, and the all the characters that we post for pictures, all of the handlers, all of the people except for that one that checked us out were amazing.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, Disney. You're taking more of my money. Will certainly be back. This is not a deterrence for us. The weather is, but everything else was great, Dave.
Can I, Aljon, I wanna ask you something because you and Kristen would know this probably, but does the studio I mean, does the company have, like, secret shopper kind of people that are plainclothes that wander through the park looking for those kinds of moments where people are, a cast member's not doing what they're supposed to be doing or, do you know if they do that?
I'm sure they do because I don't know of a single large company that doesn't have secret shoppers. I
Yeah.
don't. I
And
think
when I say
every
secret shoppers, they're not shopping, but they're doing the experiences to make
yes.
sure the guests are getting what they're supposed to be getting, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they should be audited at all times, and
Yeah.
that's just the way, large companies work. I know that stores do that. My company has done that to, and so I like that idea
Yeah.
of people going in and just experiencing it and writing reports back. Were the bathrooms clean? Was the food great? Was the service wonderful? Were the areas upkept? And so I'm sure they do that. I mean, I don't see how you can't. I mean, if smaller businesses like mine do it, I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
other people do it as well, and it's just a standard practice. So I would think so. And I would hope so,
Yeah.
because I think once again that the quality of the cast that is there, the way that the whole place is upkept, the food was really good. We didn't have any bad experiences other than that one. Well, two, but it wasn't Disney's fault. It was just some douchebag that was sitting next to me. But but everything else was really good. So
Yeah.
there you go.
But you know what's amazing? You have that one bad experience with that one cast member, and here we are. We've just spent 10 minutes talking about it.
Well,
And
that's true.
you know what I mean? But that's what happens. Generally when people have a great time, they're not going and, putting up a comment that said we had a great time at Disney World necessarily. But if they have a bad experience, they are putting it out there, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And so I would hope that everyone has great times going to the park. You spend a premium price, you should get a premium experience. And that's just what it
Well,
is. You're not going,
just like that kid at Tiana's,
oh,
Bayou in
oh boy.
California who tumbled 50 feet out of the log flume, you know?
Okay. Well, I was going to see it if you were going to bring that
He
up.
got the full
But
experience, didn't he?
did you see the footage
I
of this?
You know something? That is completely user error. He should never have gotten out of that ride vehicle. The fact that he did is on him. You cannot blame the company in any way, shape, or form about that. That is an unbelievable thing to happen, and he's lucky he didn't get hurt.
So that was that. Let's move to this. So 13-year-old was reportedly transported to the hospital after the incident. And this is a Disneyland guest climbs out of a moving ride, slides down a 52-foot drop on Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Disneyland. This comes to us, I think, I'm taking it from MSN right now on my news
But
feed.
it was all over all the news outlets.
Yeah, I mean it's everywhere, but just specifically it says so Sunday in the middle of the attraction, just prior to the sharp drop, a teen slid 52 feet down the water flume of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The boy was reportedly evaluated local hospital and later released. And apparently the child didn't have any types of medical issues or history or anything like that. He was just messing around.
He was just a dumbass.
Okay, you said it. So there was that, and people are like, "Oh man, this guy is going to screw up our ride because we do not want those safety belts." Right now I think they have like, you just go down the flume, right? You just go in and
Yeah,
there's like
yeah,
there are
you're
bars there.
sitting in the log flume, and you're not strapped in. There's no bar, as far as I know. Is there? I don't think
I
there
don't
is.
think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bar. I mean, we rode it. It'll always be Splash Mountain to us, Dave.
Yes.
But
Yes.
this you go down the flume of Splash Mountain now, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and yeah, I mean, this kid was just trying to jump flumes apparently, and his mom was trying to hold him back.
Yeah.
And so there you go. I mean, they had to close the ride to investigate, but my goodness, I mean,
You
just
know,
some
and what's
crazy
good,
stuff happening.
what I can imagine happening, by the way, is that the
Mhm.
family will wind up suing the company. And
Apparently not, Dave. Apparently
I
not.
hope not. I really hope not, because this is a case of the company should sue the kid and his parents. You know,
Yeah. It
because
probably won't happen, but
they wound up closing the attraction for the rest of the day.
they did have to close the attraction.
Yeah.
I would be so mad if that happened. This happened while we were leaving Orlando. So
Yeah.
luckily actually though, this happened on the other coast.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
This
but
was at Disneyland. Yeah.
the Disneyland. But my goodness, Dave. I mean, people, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're going for a viral moment or whatever the case is. It's just horrible. Like, common sense, please, people. Common
Yeah.
sense. But well, anyway, Dave, I tell you,
Hey,
good times.
before we move on, yes, absolutely good times. But before we move on, I just want to give a shout out, because we've been doing this for a couple of weeks. I want to give a shout out to a special screening at the Frida Cinema down in Santa Ana on Saturday, July 25th. And we've talked about this over the last several weeks. But our friend Arnie Leibovit is going to be doing a special screening of the seventh voyage of Sinbad from 1958. This is a big Technicolor screen presentation. It's a restored print, and this features Ray Harryhausen's stop motion animation. This is really going to be, I think, a terrific screening. They're going to include two more George Powell Academy Award winning Puppetoon shorts ahead of the screening. And that's on Saturday, July 25th at the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana. And all of the links are in our show notes for where to get tickets and more about the presentation. But I just wanted to give that shout out again to for our friend Arnie, because I'm telling you, I think that'll be a sold out screening. I have no doubt about it. You know that?
I think so. I mean, what a giant in the industry, of course, Ray Harryhausen.
Yeah.
And the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. I mean, this is a masterwork. So go out there and check it out. Plus, you get to see the George Powell shorts as well. I mean, the Puppetoons. Everybody loves those.
I know. Absolutely. It's fantastic.
I tell you what other people love is our picks of the week. Shall we? Shall we get into it? Shall we play the intro?
Pam, have you met? Do you know? Have you? She wrote this great review of my poetry book.
That's my pick. I read a great review.
Your girlfriend got a great review.
Oh, that's my pick, too. Sorry.
Excuse me while I start the projector.
Skull Rock Podcast, Picks of the Week. Dave, it's been a couple weeks. Dave, what have you been watching?
There's a lot of stuff I'm going to go over here, because I did go to see Disclosure Day, Steven Spielberg's new movie. I saw that opening weekend, which I rarely go out on opening weekend to see a movie, because I just want to avoid all the crowds. But I did see Disclosure Day. It is about a meteorologist and a cybersecurity expert find themselves at the center of a movement to expose the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets. I really like this film, Aljon. I thought it was very well done. I mean, it's a great Spielberg movie. It's a well-made film. I like the story. Is it a Close Encounters of the Third Kind or an E.T.? No, it's not up there as far as I'm concerned. But it was a good, solid movie, and
Well, that's
uh,
good.
and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 80%. IMDb 6.7 out of 10, and Fandango gives it 70%. I would be right up there with Rotten Tomatoes and say this to me is, easily 80-90% favorable. You've got Emily Blunt, who's in the lead, along with Colin Firth, who's terrific. Coleman Domingo is in it, plays a great character. Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son, is in this movie. It's really a fantastic cast of people, and I got to tell you, it's sort of an edge of your seat. The story moves along very well. There's a lot of action, and at the end, there's the disclosure. And it's very timely that this comes out. By the way, music score by John Williams. He's in his 90s and he's still doing scores for Steven Spielberg.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It's absolutely amazing. So I give this film 2 thumbs up. I absolutely will tell you, you should go see this on a big screen. It was very well made, and very
Nice.
enjoyable. On the small screen, Aljon, I started watching Cape Fear, the limited series that is on Apple Plus. And it's a happily married couple faces a growing threat when a notorious killer from their past, Max Cady, is released from prison and seeks revenge. So Javier Bardem plays Max Cady, the central villain, if you will, in this, and that the married couple is Amy Adams and Patrick Wilson. This is such a well done series, Aljon. Rotten Tomato gives a 76%. IMDb 6.9 out of 10. I'm going to tell you this is an 80 to 90% for me. The score alone, the musical score alone for Cape Fear is and I've always said the music score can be a supporting character in the film and really adds a lot of drama and texture to the movie experience. In Cape Fear, the score is so menacing throughout. It is
Wow.
unbelievable. It heightens the tension and the fear of this character. It's really something else. I highly recommend this. It's on Apple Plus. I've watched probably I think half the episodes, and it's just spine chilling. It's really well
I can't
done.
wait to see it
Yeah,
now. You're getting me hyped for
yeah.
it.
Also on Apple Plus, I've been watching Widow's Bay, which is billed as a comedy horror. Okay. And you know me with horror, but I can do comedy horror.
Yes.
Widow's Bay is a New England mayor trying to boost tourism on his island, must navigate strange events suggesting it might be cursed. Um, Matthew Reeves is the mayor. He's terrific. Stephen Root is in this. Dale Dickey, Kevin Carroll, Jeff Hiller is fantastic. It is really, sort of an edge of your seat. And I will tell you, Aljon, I have only been watching this while the sun is out. Okay.
Oh.
Because there are
Oh,
moments in this show that are jump out of your seat moments, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But this is really fantastic. I highly recommend it. On Rotten Tomatoes, it gets 98%. IMDb 8.2 out of 10. Check out Widow's Bay on Apple Plus. And by the way, it was picked up for a season 2 already. So
Nice.
yeah, so check that out. Over on HBO Max, I finished watching Hacks. which had 5 seasons, and so I hadn't watched season 5 until a week or so ago, and then I binge watched it. I think Hacks was really a fantastic series. It was 5 seasons of 10 episodes. It's a dark mentorship forms between Deborah Vance, um, a legendary Las Vegas comic, and an entitled outcast 25-year-old comedy writer. It stars Gene Smart as Deborah Vance and Hannah Einbinder, who is the comedy writer. It's really got a terrific cast. Paul Downs, Caitlin Olsen is in it. Megan Stalter is hilarious. Robbie Hoffman as Randy, the assistant. Extremely well done series. I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched the series at all 5 episodes are on all 5 seasons are on HBO Max, and it's beautifully done. And they end it with season 5, and it's really a very satisfying ending. So I give it high marks, and it's funny as hell. You should really check it out. Very well done.
Nice.
And then I watched a documentary called Fear City, New York City versus New York versus the Mafia. And this was on Netflix. It's basically the 5 mafia families controlled New York in the 1970s and 80s until a group of federal agents worked to take them down. This was like reliving my childhood, Aljon, because growing up on Long Island, we would see all this stuff on the local news, and read about it in the
Yeah.
papers. And this is, Carmine Galente being, rubbed out in an Italian restaurant, and
Oh boy.
some of the other
Yes.
mafia guys that have, been Paul Castellano being assassinated in the street outside of a restaurant, and
Yeah.
the whole thing with the rise of some of these the Teflon Don,
Yeah.
and all of these folks. It's just absolutely amazing to watch this. Rudy Giuliani is the federal prosecutor that helped organize this and take them down. And guess who you see periodically, especially when they're talking about how the mob controlled the concrete industry in New York City? Who do you see? Donald
The
Trump,
Donald.
the Donald.
The Donald.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
he was dealing with the mafia families when he was having buildings put up. So
Sure.
it was a good documentary. It was, I think, a 4-part documentary that you can check out on Netflix. And then finally, I've been watching The Agency on Amazon Prime. And it's actually from Paramount Plus, so I guess I'm watching it on Paramount Plus, which I have through Amazon Prime. The
Yes.
agency, a covert CIA agent, is ordered to abandon his undercover life and return to London Station when the love of his life, when the love he left behind reappears, romance reignites. This stars Michael Fassbender, Richard Gere,
Wow.
Jodie Turner-Smith, who's the love interest, Jeffrey Wright, John Magaro. I mean, this has an all-star cast, and it's completely well done. I mean, this is just absolutely fantastic. Um, it's from 101 Studio, which is where like Yellowstone and Landman and all of those shows are being made,
Yes.
along with Paramount. Incredibly well done. This is season 2. 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Really excellent spy thriller, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Michael Fassbender is just awesome. I mean, just really,
Love it.
he's the lead of a stellar cast in this undercover spy thriller. and I highly recommend this as well. You know, I only watch quality shows, Aljon. I mean, come on. You know?
That's good. Well, you'll leave the non-quality stuff to me.
What have you been watching?
Well, Dave, like you, I have seen some movies over the past couple of weeks. Let's go with this one. You know, independent horror has been doing major numbers at the box office over the past few months. We talked a little bit about how movies like Backdoors are doing. Independent film houses are doing really well. This is also one of them. This is Obsession. Obsession has been an amazing film. They shot it for under $1 million, and now it's grossed globally $200 million at the box office.
Unbelievable.
It's absolutely unbelievable. So I'll read to you the boiler for this, because you know, they say sometimes watch what you wish for, because it may just come true.
Yeah.
After breaking the mysterious One Wish Willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some of his desires come at a dark, sinister price. This film, you know, has got so many different layers that I can appreciate. First of all, it starts out being a little bit fun and lighthearted, and takes a turn, and it gets all Scooby-Doo and such. This film is not one for the big jump scares. It does have some gory moments, but it's really psychological. It's listed under dark romance, psychological horror, psychological thriller, supernatural horror, romance. So it's a different kind of thing. But I will say that the cast of characters, first of all, director, writer Curry Barker, brilliant. Steven Spielberg said this is one of his favorite movies that had come out over the past few years.
And by the way, Aljon, this is a guy that was doing stuff on YouTube, right?
Yeah, he's been doing a bunch of stuff there.
Yeah, and
look
so
at the cast.
Yeah, and so this comes out of that, right?
It does. So Michael Johnson plays Bear, Ian Cooper plays Ian, Megan Lawless plays Sarah, and the stealer of it all, Indy Navarrete, plays Nikki. She plays the love interest who goes completely cuckoo. The four youngsters work at a music store. I can relate. You know, I can relate. And they get close. A lot of stuff happens. And he goes, I just wish. And, you know, when you're young and you're fixated on somebody, I can see how this happens. You know, all your mind thinks about is this person and how can I get with this person? And these days, you know, a lot of men and men have a hard time expressing themselves. Maybe they feel down on themselves, whatever the case is.
That's because they're
But
buried in their phones and stuff, and they're socially inept.
Well, there is that. I wouldn't just limit that to men. I limit that to everybody. You know, it's really depressing. But this guy doesn't have any balls, Dave, and he decides he wants to take a shortcut to win this affection of this lovely young lady, and turns her life upside down. It is disturbing. It is eerie. It leaves you unsettled. There are no real jump scares, but the way this movie is done, and I say the Scooby-Doo of it all, because you know, when you watch Scooby-Doo and you see the backgrounds of Hanna-Barbera things are so lovingly done.
Yeah.
And you can attest to it, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like paintings. There's a lot of greens, grays, purples, greens, and just dark, you know, just landscapes. You know, you look at the Scooby-Doo intro and it's like the swampy marsh with the haunted mansion in the background, and the kids are pulling up in their little vehicle, the mystery machine. This is kind of what this is. It starts off bright, then it goes dark, and it just keeps on going dark, and it gets more disturbing. And you go, my gosh, you know, I thought I could be sympathetic to you, kiddo.
Wow.
But you ruined this girl's life because you did this. It's unintentional, but you get obsessed. This is what this movie's about. It's crazy. It's unhinged. Go out of your way to check it out. Even if you don't like horror movies, I don't think it's a horror movie for people that don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
They just want a Hitchcockian kind of vibe. This is it. All right, Dave. Speaking of the opposite end of the spectrum, I may have mentioned this last week, but Scary Movie is here. Every line will be crossed, and they certainly do. If you haven't checked out Scary Movie, this is a franchise that has what, like 7 installments,
Yeah.
you know, and it started back in the 2000s when when Scream came out, spoofing that. You see the Ghostface killer there in the movie poster. They bring back all the horror people involved in this film from the original film, the Wayans brothers, of course. They have here, look at the cast of characters, as I'll say. They got Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Regina Hall, Anna Faris, Tiana Taylor, Kenan Thompson. I mean, comedy gold, Dave. If you love spoofs like Airplane
Yeah.
and Blazing Saddles, and you'll love Scary Movie. It's a tour de force. It's fun. A lot of the jokes land, as you can see here. I'm going to stop this preview here because we got pinged last time. But they spoof everything from The Stuff to, of course, Scream, to Nope, to everything in between. All these great horror films and just pop culture references. So they're back. It's a fun thing, and they pull no punches. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you are politically. They don't really care. They're going to offend people on the right. They're going to offend people on the left, and everyone in between.
Awesome.
So go out of your way and check out Scary Movie if you want a fun laugh. Anna Faris, you're back. I love it. I love every bit of it. Here's something else that I love too, Dave. Disney, when you came aboard back in the 80s, may not have been in the best shape in 1986. And I think the studio was going through some really rough times, were they not, Dave?
I think they were in a transition period in the 80s, but Flight of the Navigator, I thought was a good movie.
I saw it again for the first time in a long time.
And what'd you think?
And it was fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. And while in some instances better than I expected, it was really short, Dave.
Yeah.
It was short. Yeah. Flight of the Navigator, come along on the greatest adventure of the summer. It was an hour and 30 minutes long. It seemed a lot shorter, I'll be honest.
But that's a good thing, Aljon, because it was a well-made movie and it moved along.
It did move quickly. So in a nutshell, in 1978, a boy travels 8 years into the future and has an adventure with an intelligent, wisecracking alien ship. And a lot of people don't remember. They remember the boy, David Freeman, played by Joey Kramer. They remember him. Maybe they remember Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman playing Max. What they may not remember is Sarah Jessica Parker as Carolyn McAdams in this movie.
And Howard Hessman. Howard Hessman was in this.
Howard Hessman from Head of the Class and WKRP in Cincinnati plays the scientist, Dr. Louis Faraday. There's some good points in this film. I will say there are some good points in this film. It's heartwarming. It's one for the whole family. Does it hold up in the story? I say yes. In some of the visuals, probably not. Sure. But I will say that there's some great puppetry that goes on in this movie for the type of movie that it is. So if you haven't seen it in a while, go ahead and check it out. 6 out of 9 on IMDb. I will agree with that. It's probably a good 6.5 for me, but it's a great family film. Go out of your way and check out Flight of the Navigator if you haven't in a long time.
And you can watch that on Disney Plus.
You can watch it on Disney Plus.
Anytime.
The rest of the films I saw. Yeah, anytime on Disney Plus, Dave. It's like you've done this before. Anytime on Disney Plus. Well, that wraps up our reviews for the week. It's great that we were out there, out and about in the theaters and watching some films. What have you been watching? Let us know, and we'll check it out in a future episode.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
All right, Dave. Here we go. Toy Story 5. Are you going to see Toy Story 5 anytime soon?
Yeah,
Dave?
I am actually. I want to catch it in the theaters. It is a juggernaut, and I have to say it looks really well done. And based on the box office numbers, because it's blown, I mean, it stayed number 1 for its second weekend out,
Unbelievable. I mean, Toy Story 5. The kids are obsessed. And I will tell you this, Dave, the parks are full of Toy Story 5 merch.
I can
I
imagine.
mean, it's everywhere, everywhere possible, every nook, every little cranny. Everybody's talking about Toy Story 5. Second weekend holding strong with 70 million estimated weekend. Domestic totals 248 million, probably crossing 300 million globally. It's one of 2026 biggest hits. And I would say, dare I say, Dave, this will probably be the biggest animated film of all time.
It could
I will,
it could be if it keeps going this way, you know? I mean, look,
I feel like it,
yeah, it's gonna cross 300 million, after what? Not even 10 days.
yeah, I feel like July 4th weekend, this film is going to take in everything. I feel like, I just really feel that way. The word of mouth is from all of my friends that have went out of their way to see this film on opening weekend that they cried, they loved it, they laughed, so awesome. I say good luck, Toy Story 5. Let's bring, Disney Pixar back to prominence. I can't wait. On a flip side, though, Supergirl, uh, what happened, Dave? Opened to 18 million on Friday, 40 million weekend estimate.
Hey, look,
Domestic totals,
the
mixed.
audiences are fickle. I mean, are they getting sick of superhero movies?
I don't know.
I don't know what to say about it, you know? I'd like to go see it, but, what can I tell you?
But you don't feel I don't the immediacy, right? I mean, you just don't feel like, oh, I don't have to watch it
No,
opening
I'm not gonna
weekend.
go opening weekend, obviously, which is this weekend, partially because I'm traveling and I'm doing the show with you from New
Sure.
York.
Yeah, I am.
So, but I'll go see it. I'll probably go see it during the week. Leading into 4th of July, I'll go see it on a big screen because I want to see it on a big screen. But this was not a movie I was like anticipating running out to go see opening weekend anyway.
Right now it's holding at 6.1 IMDb rating. Not the
No,
best. I mean, you know, yeah, I don't know. Jackass, Best and Last, is a new entry. It scored about 3.8 million on Friday. Big nostalgia play on that. Obsession, holding strong, 2.97 on Friday. Domestic totals reaching $227 million globally. I mean, that is domestic, by the way. I think globally now it's probably a little more than that. And Disclosure Day, as you said, Dave, I'm kind of surprised. It's only gotten a domestic total of 88, 89 million.
yeah, I think this movie will have legs to it. When I went to see it in
Okay,
the theater, it was a pretty full theater.
good,
You know.
good. Well, once again, I think everybody's waiting for that July 4th
Yeah,
weekend.
maybe. Look, I think though when you look at Toy Story doing the kind of box office, it's telling me the audiences don't really want to see humanoid characters. They want to see,
Oh,
they want to see like toys coming to life or furry animals, hijinks. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, totally.
and by the way, I was gonna mention to you, did you see the trailer for Hexed?
Yes,
And your thoughts?
fair to Midland at best.
Well, I looked at that trailer for Hexed, which is a Disney animated film coming out in November, and I at the end of the trailer, I thought to myself, "Why are they making this as an animated film?"
Yeah,
Right? Because you've got a humanoid main character, right? A little girl,
yes,
right?
yes.
And it's sort of like it felt like it was a cross between Skydance's Charmed, which was a disaster, and
Yep,
Harry Potter.
yes.
And I just thought to myself, just make this a live action movie. They're going to do it anyway at
Yeah,
some
it's kind of like
point.
Wednesday. Well, I
If the
know.
animated film does any business, which is questionable. If it does any business, maybe they'll make a live action film. But why don't you just cut to the chase and make it a live action movie? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, I don't know.
So
Exactly.
it seems to me that the cartoonier, more fun animated films like Mario Brothers or Minions or Toy Story 5 are
Hoppers.
Hoppers. They're doing the big business. You put out humanoid characters and they don't seem to be doing, that kind of business. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's
just,
so weird.
it's just my observation of it all.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, they seem like they're always going to tell these, humanoid type of movies. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It is kind of weird. Um, anyway, yeah. So anyway, Disclosure Day, 88 to 89 million backrooms holding it down still, 181, and then we wrap up things with Scary Movie. 920,000 on Friday, domestic 101 million. Holdovers like Masters of the Universe and Star Wars, Mandalorian, Grogu rounded out the top 10 with declining but respectable earnings. Yeah,
I mean, Scary
see.
Movie doing 101 million. That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
because
not too bad.
that's a low budget kind of comedy film.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's good stuff there. Well, let's see here. So we talked a little about this, and I will say another thing I did check out this week is Olivia Rodrigo's new record. Olivia just dropped a new one, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's, if you like a little Olivia Rodrigo, female rock, pop, punk kind of situation, I mean, she's your girl, so go for it. I will say that if you're a fan of The Cure and a lot of the 80s retro alternative, that she draws a lot of influence from it,
Okay.
Dave. I don't know if you're a big fan of that, but
Yeah.
I like The Cure, and she's like heavily influenced from it. Just kind of like Taylor Swift's last record was, her last records are really kind of independent. They feel like independent rock alternative records, like coffee house
Yeah.
records, and she's really into that. And I think Olivia Rodrigo is really going to this heavy 80s thing. Almost like a Kate Bush kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But check that out. Now let's look into some of these celebrity passings this week, Dave. It's been an interesting couple weeks, but we had some legends pass away.
Skull Rock Podcast.
You're like that little arrow on your hat, straight and shining, and that's the way I'll always remember you.
I'll always remember you. I'll always remember you.
I'll always remember you, Sharon.
They hang you, I'll always remember you.
In memoriam.
Recently, let's talk a little bit about Margaret Carey, Dave. She was the body model for the Tinkerbell, original Tinkerbell. Passes away at 97. She also starred opposite Eddie Cantor in If You Know Susie in the early ABC sitcom The Ruggles, and did a lot of voice work on cartoons. I had met Margaret Carey at D23 many years ago, several times, and had some of my DJs on Sorcerer Radio interview her. She was just the nicest lady.
Yeah, she was absolutely a lovely person. I had met her a few times as well. I didn't know her like I know other people, but she was always lovely to chat with. And boy, she had an amazing life. 97 years old, and she was one of those individuals who was a link to the Walt era.
100%. Yeah, she served as the actress and dancer who served as the model and inspiration for Disney animators creating the Pixie Tinkerbell for the 1953 classic Peter Pan. She was 97, and my goodness, man, she was beloved among fans.
Yes, she
in
was.
the world.
But she had a fantastic life, and that's really, to me, that's the amazing thing,
Yeah, she passed peacefully in Wilmington, North Carolina, according to her children. So that is quite a life. Ronnie Shell, actor on Gomer Pyle USMC, dies at 94. Man, look at that guy. I remember seeing him in all the TV shows back in the day. The self-deprecating stand-up also starred in Good Morning World and The Cat from Outer Space. You can also find that on Disney+. Provided the voice for Peter Puck. And Dave, who's the best friend of Jim Neighbors' character, starred as the wisecracking Duke Slater in the 60s Gomer Pyle USMC.
Yeah, that was
Passed away this past Friday.
Gomer Pyle USMC was a spin-off from the Andy Griffith Show.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, look at that. That guy's been in everything.
Yeah.
He was a prolific actor. He played the animated Peter Puck, who explained the rules of hockey to viewers in NHL games on NBC in the 1970s. Popular stand-up comedian as well. He played in Anne-Marie's agent on the first 2 seasons of ABC's That Girl, of course. Gomer Pyle, the Shaggy DA, Cat from Outer Space in 1978. He voiced the cat as well as Love at First Bite in 1979. So, I mean, he's got, quite the impressive resume from back in the day.
Yeah, it's something else.
David Hockney, legendary British artist, dies at the age of 88. How about that, Dave?
Yeah,
Hackney passed away peacefully.
What a giant in the art world, David Hockney. I mean, I just love his artwork. He sort of created this this vision, this fantasy vision of Southern California life. He was an English artist who relocated to Los Angeles, and some of his most famous paintings are this idyllic Southern California lifestyle,
There you
and
go.
I saw a documentary on him, as well as an interview with him later in life. Think the documentary, excuse me, the interview that I remember seeing was within the last year or two, and I think it was a segment on CBS Sunday Morning. I'm willing to bet you could
Oh,
probably find that online. They probably have it up on YouTube or something like that. But
got it.
he was a real interesting character and really a prolific artist. And I actually love his artwork.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's great. I'm glad to get that context from you, Dave. And rest in peace. 88.
Yeah. He had a good life.
How about this, Dave?
He had a good
Yes.
life,
Clive,
and by the way,
yes.
I would say he probably would have lived longer, but he smoked like a fiend,
Well, there you go.
So
There you go. Old habits die hard,
there you
unfortunately.
go.
You know, these chain smokers. Dave, Clive Davis, musical giant, passed away at the age of 94, of course, due to age-related illnesses. Of course, legendary music executive and a producer shaped the careers of so many musicians that you know and love. We have Alicia Keys here pictured here from MSN. We have here Bruce Springsteen, Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, and so many others. The Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, just to name a few. He founded Arista Records, and man, oh man, I
Aljon,
mean,
this is a music executive. Somebody might refer to him as a suit, but this was a
yes,
guy that had an ear for music, and he went with his gut feeling, and his gut was always right for him. There's a story that early on with Springsteen, with Bruce Springsteen, that Clive Davis actually read the lyrics of some of Bruce's songs to his staff,
yeah,
because he was so enamored with Bruce Springsteen, and there's another story where he went to see Bruce play, and he really wasn't moving around. And afterwards, he said to Bruce, "You need to move around on stage more." And the story goes that the next time Clive Davis went to see Springsteen perform, Springsteen was running around and jumping and everything. And afterwards, Clive Davis said, "That was a great show." And Bruce looked up at him and said, "Did I move enough for you?"
well, that's really what it is, right? I mean, not only was he great at finding talent, cultivating talent, that A&R, but it really does take a special somebody to recognize those talents.
And to be able to
And
do it over a long period of time and
oh,
multiple genres of music, you know?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Grateful Dead, Springsteen, Notorious B.I.G., Janis Joplin. I mean, Aretha Franklin, for heaven's sake. I mean, all of them are, if they're not already in the Hall of Fame, they will
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
Really.
absolutely.
And so, what a giant. Speaking of giants, Dave, James Burrows. I mean, we talked about this before we started rolling. I mean, the must see TV era was really all about James Burrows' TV shows. He was the person behind Cheers, one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. And I talk about horror movies a lot, Dave, of course, and Disney, Star Wars, but I am a must see TV freak. And I love Cheers. Cheers is just one of the best sitcoms of all times, in my opinion. And then you also have Will and Grace. I also saw every episode of that and every episode of Friends. I mean, there is nothing of his that he's done that I haven't seen in its entirety. It's so good, Dave. He was 85 years old.
I know. I mean, he had an incredible life, you know,
Just amazing.
and
I
was
mean,
prolific. Do you realize he directed over 1,000 episodes of television? 1,000 episodes. Can you imagine?
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, just incredible.
Well, we talked about, the biggest sitcoms in history. I mean, Frasier.
Yeah.
Taxi, Mary Tyler Moore Show, all the shows I've seen growing up in their entirety.
Yeah.
11 Primetime Emmys, 5 Directors Guild of America Awards. I mean, wonderful. I mean, amazing. His father, writer, composer Abe Burrows, co-wrote Guys and Dolls, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. I mean, that is the life of just a passed down of entertainment, through generations in his family. I mean, that is insane. That is amazing. So, Dave, this of course is also super sad.
Yeah.
DeVay Chase. And DeVay Chase, unfortunately, she was one of the voices. She was the voice of Lilo and Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
And according to her mother, she had passed away. She'd struggled for a long time with drug addiction after a motorcycle accident had really hurt her, among other things. But my goodness, she was 35, Dave.
It's
35 years old.
Absolutely sad. And just, unfortunately, the way that so many child actors have gone, even though she had a successful career, but there's something that happens to some of these child actors, and I don't know if she went down that path or this was just because she got addicted to opioids after she had that motorcycle accident or what, but it's just such a tragic, sad story.
Well, it was reported in an interview with the Daily Mail published Saturday, June 20th, that her mother, Kathy, shared that the Ring actress had long struggled with drug addiction after her 2016 motorcycle accident. Doctors prescribed her daughter with those painkillers, among others, when she injured her back, prompting substance abuse issues and an unhealthy lifestyle. Of course, she's known as the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch and The Ring, which is an amazing horror movie. She died from complications from meningitis and blood infection.
Oh, it's just, what an awful way to go, and just such a sad story,
It really is. I'm a fan of her work,
Yeah.
and it's just it's really sad. She, I guess, was also in HBO's Big Love as well, Dave.
Yeah.
So just another actress, an actor whose life was suddenly cut too short, gone
That's
too
so
soon,
sad.
as they say.
Let's get out of here! Come on, Scotty, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here, Lieutenant.
Well, Dave, that wraps up our show for today. Dave, it's always great hanging out and catching up with you.
Yeah, same here, Aljon. And just because we're always transparent, I screwed up this week, folks, because I left home before I could send Aljon the interview that was going to run today, which was part one of a 2-part interview we revisit with Tom Cito, the great animator Tom Cito, and animation professor who's just recently retired from USC. I did a wonderful interview. So we're going to drop part 1 next Monday with Tom Cito. This was bound to happen, Aljon. I was always good about sending the interview files to you, and I just got up to New York and realized, oh darn, I haven't sent those, and I don't have access to them. So,
it's good. It's good.
We've got some great interviews coming up. I did a fantastic interview with Joaquin. Oh gosh, I practiced his name and now I can't do it. Joaquim Royo, who is a color stylist, visual development, and art director, who lives now in Barcelona or Barcelona, depending on how you'd like to pronounce it. But he worked at the Disney studio in Paris, so we're going to be talking to him about some incredible films from the 90s that he worked on, and also talking a little bit about AI, as I've been peppering some of our guests with AI questions. We've got a ton of great interviews coming up, as we always do. We're revisiting some old friends and catching up with them. By the way, Tom Cito has a new book coming out. So I shouldn't say coming out. He has a new book out. And so we're going to be talking to him about that book. So those are all coming up in the coming weeks, but I'm glad we had a chance to just chat this week and just kind of catch up. And I'm not going to be doing too much traveling during the summer, not until September. So I'm going to be hanging at the beach, as it were. And I'm looking forward to that. So there you have it, Aljon.
Well, thank you for that tease, Dave. I look forward to having Tom back on the show. He's always great. And once again, gang, if you love Disney and pop culture, please subscribe to our show. We really appreciate it. You can find video podcasts there on our YouTube, as well as Spotify, and of course, audio everywhere you can find podcasts. All of our socials are in the links below. Email us, Dave or Aljon at skullrockpodcast.com. Check my podcast out, my other one that I host with Kristen and Kat. It's called Dining at Disney, where we talk about Disney food in the parks, of course, every single week. Check out diningatdisney.com. And a big shout out to our friends at Sorcerer Radio, all Disney music all day long at srsounds.com. Dave?
And Aljon, as I mentioned, every week I host the Tunes Behind the Tunes on SiriusXM Disney Hits Channel 133. During the month of June, we're doing Life is a Highway from Disney Pixar's 2006 hit film Cars. So check that out. Disney, it's Tunes Behind the Tunes on SiriusXM Disney Hits Channel 133. And thank you to the folks who have been listening to SiriusXM Disney Hits Channel 133, who've sent me notes saying they've heard me on the program, including somebody who was driving and said that they were listening to me talk about Life is a Highway. And they listened to Life is a Highway, and they said, boy, when they hear that song, they want to go fast on the highway. So
that's me. That's me. This guy right here.
And you can get many of my books, author signed copies at theoldmillpress.com. You can also get author signed copies of the newly released The Art of John Canemaker, An Animator's Garden by John Canemaker, and also A Spoonful of Sugar, the story of the Upjohn Pharmacy at Disneyland by Stephen Hall. By the way, I'm going to be going through Grand Central Station on Tuesday, and I'm hoping to see part of John Canemaker's An Animator's Garden. He did all these paintings at his home in Bridgehampton and then made a short film called Bridgehampton. And there's a 15-second snippet of the film that's playing in the main concourse of Grand Central Station in Manhattan. So I'm gonna be checking that out on Tuesday. And then finally, if you'd like to, you can go visit my personal website, davidbossert.com. And there's all kinds of free content, and there's free stuff that you can send away for us. So check out davidbossert.com. And I'm going to give a not a final plug, but I'm going to give a plug finally here about my new book. It's about ready to go to the printer, Aljon. Walt Disney World War II animation on the front lines. I am so stoked about this book, Aljon. I can't tell you. It's almost 400 pages. Can you imagine? It's almost it's the biggest book I've done to date. And it is chock full of photos and artwork like you've never seen before. Okay. And
Love
I
it.
am so thrilled about this book coming out in the fall. I can't wait. I'm busting at the seams. So,
I love
so
it.
with that, Aljon, I want everybody, all of our listeners, to go out, have a fantastic week, be kind to one another, be patient on the roads. We're coming up to 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of the United States. We're celebrating next weekend. Please take your time, have patience, be kind to one another, and above all, be careful with any fireworks. In fact, I'm just telling you right now, I will be watching the fireworks in New York Harbor next weekend.
Wow.
Okay? The
Nice.
big Macy's fireworks show, and you can watch it if you can't get to New York. You can watch it on Peacock on NBC. They're going to be showing it live, and it's going to be one of the most spectacular fireworks shows the country's ever seen. So but there you have it. Just be careful. Have a great 4th of July, everybody. And we'll see you back here, right here on the Skull Rock Podcast next Monday.
Happy 250th, America.
Yeah.
Yeah.